Welcome to Light Graphics Live. So we have 780 and the 790. So that's just giving you 30 degrees of adjustment. And then we have the 782 and we have the 792 with a black inner baffles. The reason for it existing is we had the 72Ms, we have the 108Os, the bigger 900 lumen downlights. These are the 200 lumen downlights. So to offer something that fits perfectly in the middle is a 780. In the fixed and adjustable fixtures, what you have is 60 millimeters of depth, 46 millimeter bezel. So it's very small, tiny little bezel. And in the adjustable, it's just 60 millimeters deep as well. But the bezel is 60 millimeters because of the adjustable ability of it. You have 30 degrees of tilt and just gives you so much flexibility on site. Performance comparison between the 4 different types. So the 780, 790, 782, 792. What we have is 2 engine choices for you. We have the E2 engine, which is what matches the LD151s, 155s, our uplights, and other wall lights and stuff, just to give you some continuity. They're about 430 delivered lumens, but we've also introduced the F1 engine, which is basically a small cob engine that we have inside. So you have 2 choices there, similar outputs as well, slightly lower outputs in the 8.2 and 9.2s, but generally around about 400 lumens. Why would you choose an E2 or an F1? You've got a 10-degree narrow beam in the E2, high peak intensity in the E2. So the narrow beam really does give you a nice punch. And the output ranges are 350 to 700 to 500 milliamps. So that's the E2. F1 gives you 2200 Kelvin. So really nice warm color temperatures without the need of filters. 21 and 28 degree beams. So they've got wider beam angles. The narrow beam angles are in the E2. That's simply because of the size of the cob and the optic that we use. So it's not able to go for narrow beams without causing issues. The F1 is 90 CRI plus. We are actually going to probably offer the E2 a 90 CRI as well. F1 is more cost effective, but it has a 350 to 700 milliamp range in the F1 because it's thermally just a little bit more efficient. So in the downlights, what you have here, we thought we'd just give you a quick overview. So you have the 2200 Kelvin to 5000 color temperatures taken care of. The performance in terms of the E2, for example, L90 B5 at 90,000 hours, still super impressive in terms of a very low failure rate and the longevity of the product. You can go up to ambient temperatures of 45 degrees at 350 milliamp. So you just have to reduce the output down, but you can go up to 45 degrees ambient. And then our UGR is 11.5, for example, which is lower than other Italian famous low glare products. And so with that, it's super low glare and gives you really nice compact fitting. The peak intensity, which is quite interesting, we thought we'd highlight, is with the downlights, for example, it's the 72M, which is 1,300 candelas. For the 108Os and the other downlights, are 2,900, so relatively a bit more. But as soon as you go in with the E2 engine, you've got 6,000 plus candela. So that's the narrow beam. It just punches that light so far further forward than for the size to output ratio. So really, even though it's not a what you call it, high wattage or high lumen, for example, it still delivers more candela, or has a higher peak intensity than the 900 lumen 108Os. The fixture itself, it has a black inner baffle to reduce the glare. This LED is set back 25 millimeters from the front. So that's probably the main reason why we are not able to offer all the different beam angles, where we're just trying to stick between the narrow and the medium, just because glare has been the one thing that we've tried to make sure we reduce as much as possible, offer you the option of reducing the glare as much as possible. And it's very low glare. And in terms of the adjustability options, you have a black inner anti-glare ring. And with this one, it just gives you, when you do tilt the fitting in maximum tilt, it doesn't shine up in the ceiling. It just creates just a bit more harmony, just a bit more silence in the ceiling. And the two-tone products also all have a black, any adjustable fitting has that inner anti-glaring. They also have standard black inner baffles. The beam angles, just to give you guys just some visual representation, is you've got the 10-degree narrows, which is lovely, and the 26-degree as well. And the F1 engine is 21 and 28 degrees. Okay, so that is the F1 chip. So it's still, relatively narrow. It gives you a pretty decent throw. I know the camera's not going to do it much justice, but it does give you a really nice throw of light for something so tiny. And then the E2 with its lovely narrow beams, 10 degrees, it just gives you that just amazing little shot. So the differences are, so you can see there, apart from the dust that's everywhere, but you can see that it's really, the black in the baffle just give it so much more silence in the ceiling. We have 7 off-the-shelf color options, and this blue one is to represent any color, any RAL color codes. So we can do that where everything matches together. All of the paint finishes are in-house. If we need to do some crazy finish where it's like plated in some crazy bespoke finish, then we can get our suppliers to help and get something over to you guys. Our 2-tone options, you have a black baffle, a standard. But what we've also introduced is the ability to color and change and give you options for whatever you want on the internal, so you can play with a 2-tone. Black baffle is really there to give you the reduction in glare, and the other colors are just a bit more decorative, a bit more probably more up the alley of the interior designers type of thing. But it does give you so much to play with in terms of colors and options. Outer baffle, it will always match the bezel, and the inner baffle will be a different color. So, but if you want that to be different, just get in touch and we'll sort that out. The data on the data sheets at the end, it does give you all the different ways to play that with your black, whether you want the finish, and then your inner baffle finish is all there as well. Hi, Matthew. If you want to ask your question.
What would be the IP rating of adjustable versions? Is it IP rated or IP20 only?
Is IP65 as well.
IP65. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Hi, Paras.
Hi. My question is little simple. Just want to understand. There are actually 2 questions. One is, are we having a tunable version in this, where the colors CCT can change from 27 to maybe 4,000 or 6,500?
At the moment, if I'm being honest, it's been on something we wanted to do, but it's not something that's currently available. But it's not impossible. It just means doing a slight change to the PCB, but it should be okay because the E1 engines at the moment, so the E2 engines, they have tunable options. So what we'll have to do is just make sure that the new board has that. I'll find that answer out for you and I'll email. There we go. Hi, Melanie.
Hi. A couple of practical questions. One is, when are they shipping? And the other one is, are you aware of any drivers that will go through the cutouts?
It's ready now for samples and for its launched. We have stock in place. We managed to secure in, everything we need. So when you do want a sample or anything like that, just send us an email to your internal contact and we'll ship them out to you as soon as they're ready. Maybe about 2 weeks, I think is at the moment for samples. Probably earlier if we have enough that we've made. So that's samples, not a problem. Cutouts, well, there are options for the TCI drivers, I believe. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, the diameter or the dimension, the width on the height of the LDLED drivers means that it can also fit through the adjustable versions. I'll double check for you on the fixed versions, but I think for the adjustables, it's fine. But for the fixed, it might not be. You might need to use a TCI one to fit through.
Great. All right. That's super. Thank you.
And that concludes the presentation. So thank you. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on LinkedIn. Very lovely to have you guys here. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.